In this lecture, we are going to learn about various activity types present in Primavera P6. If we select any activity and go to the General tab, and under the activity type, with this drop-down menu, we get various types of activities. Let's understand them one by one. Start milestone. If we select the activity type as start milestone, it will only take a start date with 0 duration, which means it's kind of a flag where we want to start a particular activity or a particular phase. For example, in my project, I have used project start as a start milestone, and it has taken only 0 duration with a start date. Another type of activity is finish milestone, which is similar to that a project milestone, with the difference that it's used for indicating the finish of a phase of a project or some important part of the project. For example, in my project, I have selected project finish and I have given it activity type as finish milestone, and it has taken 0 original duration with a finish date only. Now let's have a look at other type of activity types. Most of the times we select the activity type as task dependent, which means that this activity is driven by the task calendar or the default calendar of the project. So if we have the default calendar of a project with 2 holidays in a week, it will be scheduled for 5 days only. Or if we have a calendar assigned to the project with only 1 holiday per week, so each activity with task dependent type will be scheduled for 6 days a week. Most of the times by default we use the task dependent type of activity. However, sometimes you may have some special kind of activity which is not dependent on the project calendar but dependent on the resource calendar. Let's take example, for example, testing of MEP systems. And let's say that this activity depends upon the availability of a specialist engineer. So we will assign that specialist engineer his own calendar, and suppose that specialist engineer is available only 2 days a week. So although you will have the project calendar assigned to this activity, but this activity will be actually driven by the resource calendar if we select resource dependent. So although you have 5 working days in a week according to your project calendar, but if that resource which is assigned to it has only 2 working days per week, so that means these 6 days of work will be scheduled over 3 weeks instead of 1 week. So the difference between resource dependent and task dependent activity is that in case of resource dependent activity, the resource calendar takes priority over the project calendar. Another activity type is the WBS summary. So if we select any activity as WBS summary, what it does is that it summarizes its child activities. If I select the excavation 2 as summary activity and I schedule my project, you can see now it has become a summary activity with 106 days of duration starting from 19th of May till 16th of October. It will be similar to that of the WBS dates. Now the last activity type is level of effort activity type. Level of effort activity type is a very unique type of activity in Primavera P6. Level of effort activity is used to represent such work which doesn't directly support the project progress but are still important and critical tasks. For example, customer meetings, project management meetings, maintenance of equipment, clerical work, etc. These activities or the level of effort activities do not directly contribute towards the project, and they take their date from its predecessor and its successor. For example, if I create a level of effort activity here, let's name it clerical work and change its activity type to level of effort. As you can see here, once I change its activity type to level of effort and I schedule my project, it takes a 0 duration. But once I assign it relationships, its predecessor and successor, it will take the date of its predecessor and finish date as the finish date of its successor. Let's assign it, for example, clerical work will be from project start and it will continue, let's say, until we finish testing of MEP systems. Once I do that, I'll schedule my project. You can see here it has taken the duration of 120 days. Its start date is same as the start date of its predecessor and its finish date is same as the finish date of its successor. So this was about the different types of activities or the different activity types in Primavera P6.